Hello dear viewer, eggnog is still the greatest drink of all time. Murdoch X here, and today let's play some Up.
Huh? Arg! What are you doing out there, kid?
Hi, Mr. Fredrickson. Remember me, Russell? I'm trying to get my Wilderness Explorer Assisting the Elderly badge. I've never been in a floating house before. Paradise Falls, a land lost in time. You going on a trip to South America,
Don't touch that. You'll soil it.
Oh, this is how you steer your house. This way makes it go right.
Hey, would you
and
stop with
makes
that?
it go left.
Let go of it. Knock it off! Whoa! Oh.
Hey, are you alright, sir? Sir?
Up, a Disney Pixar co-op platforming game on the PlayStation 2. As far as licensed games go, Disney has a darn good record, so when my wife suggested this to me to review, I said yes. And I did this not just because of any mind control devices that she may own, but also because I wanted to play the game. This was made by skydiving, drum-playing Frenchmen. Isn't that enough? Published in 2009, this game is a late release on the PS2 as the PS3, Xbox 360, and Wii were all released 3 years earlier in 2006. Up was available on nearly every platform at the time, but there are 3 different versions of this title if we ignore the mobile games. The version released on the PS2 is the same version for the PSP, Windows, and Mac. The Nintendo DS got a smaller game, and Wii, 360, and PS3 got a fast-paced action platformer, though these versions of the game can be beat in under 3 hours. This version of Up, the one for the PS2, was created by French developer Asobo Studios. The big difference between this version of Up and the other 2 versions is this game is slower, but longer. Well, that and the graphics. The PS3 edition of Up looks more exciting, but it seems the PS2 version has more exploration. At least that's what I've read. I have no experience with the PS3 game. The DS game, on the other hand, is much smaller, and all 3 versions of the Up games were developed by different companies. Quick note about this game, as a late release PS2 title, it comes with a widescreen mode. The first thing to know about Up is that it is a co-op platforming game with clever drop in and out mechanics. The game can be played single player, but if a friend wants to jump in, they can do so at any time and just as easily drop out and let the AI take over again. There are several game mechanics that are centered around this decision. For example, the old man Carl can jump up to higher places than the child Russell. After Carl gets up here, he has to lower his walker so that Russell can grab onto it and be pulled up to the ledge. Swinging across pits can also be done with more than one character at a time, as one can grab the legs of the other, which becomes important later with one of the unlocked items that only Russell can use. We'll come back to this. Another feature that Up offers is the lack of a lives system. Upon death, players are sent back to the most recent checkpoint as many times as they need. What this game does have instead is an energy meter at the top of the screen. When this is depleted, some basic tasks become unavailable, like holding onto a swinging rope or grabbing onto a platform's edge. There are always energy fruits nearby that can fill this back up, though you may have to walk backwards through the stage a little ways to get to them. I enjoy this system, and there are a few places throughout the game where its value becomes clear. It's nice that there's no severe punishment for missing a jump or running into an enemy. This game is about pushing forwards and exploring stages, and the energy system is a good fit. Both Carl and Russell have items hidden around the stages that only they can pick up. For Carl, these are pictures that have fallen out of his house, and for Russell, there are bugs to catch with his net. Speaking of bugs, there are also places where the player can cause bugs to swarm out from logs or rocks, and a short minigame starts where Carl will try to smash as many bugs as he can while Russell instead tries to pick them up and save them. This is a nice touch. It adds a little bit of a distraction to the middle of stages. Speaking of bugs, again, they come up in yet another way in the game. From time to time, a swarm of enemy bugs will be blocking the way, and a faraway fruit must be brought in and tossed near the insects, which causes them to swarm around it and open up the pathway for our heroes to continue. The stages and up have the occasional enemy that get in the way, such as birds and dogs that may attack. To combat this, Carl has a hearing aid that he can use to push creatures away with sound, while Russell's method of deterring opponents is to use a signal mirror to shine light in their eyes and make them leave. Both are effective in different situations and sometimes in neither. Another environmental trap to keep an eye out for is net traps. Sometimes these will be blocking a path to move forward. The best method to get past these is to get an enemy creature like a dog or an armadillo to walk into them. One less enemy and now the path is opened. Besides switching between the two human characters, there are segments where a bird or a dog join the team and bring their own unique characteristics to the game. But now for the bad news. Raft Stages. My thumbs still hurt the next day from playing these. There are a couple of problems here. First is the thumb issue. To paddle, the player must hammer on the X button for the entire stage. The second problem is that controls flip around when the raft turns too far. The controls don't reverse, they sort of turn 90 degrees. It's frustrating, and there are a few areas where this confusion causes huge delays while also dealing with the thumb pain. At one point while I was trying to understand how the controls change, I held left on the left analog stick and the raft would switch directions back and forth. Despite this frustration, I would still recommend this game. For being a title with an AI-controlled sidekick, it handles well. The other character will follow around the active player and knows what to do. There are times where it will stop and make no progress because there are parts where the player should switch control to navigate some of these more difficult segments, and the game doesn't let you pass this off to the computer. One example of this is the log rolling segments. One player turns the log while the other navigates forward and backwards to stay within the safe area and not get knocked off by birds. After the first player makes it across, they are now in charge of turning the log while the next character crosses. As the player progresses through 27 stages, upgrade items will be unlocked that make previously inaccessible areas open up, thus leaving room for loads of replayability. One of the items, the rope, is similar to the log rolling aspect. Russell throws a rope down to Carl, who has to navigate up and down while Russell moves left and right to get through a maze of safety surrounded by spiky vines. These become increasingly difficult as the game goes on, to the point where Carl has to jump gaps and avoid birds at the same time. Another unlockable item is a pickaxe for Russell that allows him to swing from crystals that stick out from the stage. Since old man Carl does not have this item, he will have to grab onto Russell's legs to advance during these parts. There are several other items around as well, and they each add diversity to previously explored stages as well as new functionality for the occasional boss fight that comes along. One final set of stages to talk about are the high jump areas where Carl and Russell are attached to the flying house and are able to make big jumps to get past large gaps. There are a couple of minor bugs here. Sometimes the high jump doesn't happen when expected due to being too close to a platform's lip, and if the AI platform gets too far behind, the stage won't allow the active player to move forward, which is a problem when making one of these big jumps. These problems are small though, and they're easy to adjust for. With all of the good that this game has to offer, the few negative aspects are easy to overlook. The biggest factor that may turn players away is that it begins to feel a bit samey after a while. Well, this and the thumb pain. If you enjoy the idea of high jump platforming, stage exploration, or well-managed drop-in co-op gameplay, please give this one a shot. It's so hard to get co-op games right, and this one nailed it. Up is good fun with plenty of little ways to troll a friend who may join in on the action. Thank you for watching, and if you would be so kind as to hit the subscribe button, it helps a lot. I'm getting close to that 1,000 subscriber mark where all of the YouTube features become unlocked. You know, I hear that the PS3 Up game is similar to the LEGO games, but a lot easier. I'm curious what that must be like. It's strange that this movie got 3 different games by 3 different companies, but it must have worked. I see copies of Up everywhere.